Hi guys, welcome to another video today. Today we're going to be doing my full length review of the R6 Mark II. I've managed to get out and do a bit more time with the camera, so thought it was time to do a full length review. There are going to be some clips from my last video on the R6 in here, so we're going to do the whole overview of the body and the system itself, and then what we're going to do is go through some photos that I've taken with the R6 to show some of the details, and then what I'll do is I'll talk about my overall thoughts about the camera after using it a little bit more, and then we'll go from there. So first of all, what we're going to do is head on into the overview right now. Okay, so here we are with the body of the R6 Mark II. It doesn't actually look obviously that much different on the outskirts from the Mark I. There are a few noticeable changes though, especially on the top here. So the power button has changed, and you've also got a different button there to select between your video and your photo modes, and you've also got this nice dial up here too. Now obviously this one has got the battery grip on here. It also does, as far as I'm aware, have the digital hot shoe as well, like from the R3. This is a 24 megapixel camera, full frame, and you can get a maximum on mirrorless mode of 40 frames a second, which is absolutely insane. You've got a maximum shutter speed on mechanical shutter of 1/8000th of a second. You've got a maximum shutter speed of 1/16,000th of a second on electronic. You can shoot 4K. It has obviously now pretty standard the very nice varifocal display here, which you can put wherever you need to. As a few YouTube reviewers do complain about, it doesn't sit totally flat against here, so it's not a straight line 90 degree, it is slightly curved towards you, but personally never found that an issue. You've got the new EVF there. You have also got the Digit X processor still, which is the same, which was what you found in the R6 Mark I. This has the added battery grip on it, which is really great, because then you can shoot vertically like you would on a 1D model camera. Overall though, still very light. I think including a battery, this comes in at 670 grams and with a card in there as well. Speaking of cards, this camera uses two of the SD Extreme cards. These are the Extreme Pros that I'm using, and they come in at around about £80 a card for 64 gig. Depending on where you get them from, you can sometimes get deals on them too. But I shoot two of those in redundant, and they go neatly in your little card slot on the side on there. Now with the batteries, you're still using the high power battery, the same one that you get from the R6. It's the LP-E6NH battery. And I say, because we've got the battery grip on here, we have two in this very neat little cradle that goes in and out just like that. Screw it up and you've got more than enough battery for a full day of shooting. On the R6, I've run that and taken 3,000 photos and still had a good 30% in each battery left, so not had any problems here. We also have the EF to RF adapter on here. I tend to leave them on all my cameras because I have no RF lenses, so I have one of these for every single camera and just leave it on there and get on with it really. It means I don't have to go hunting for one when I want to change lenses over, so that's where they sit. But overall, the feel, if you've used to an R6, it's going to feel very much the same. It's not massively different ergonomically. Let's say you just have got those couple of button changes across on top here, but apart from that, you'll know where everything is. The AF obviously has changed in here as well. From what I've experienced already, it is slightly more sticky than it is on the R6 Mark I, and it can find eyes a little bit better. It has got more tracking features than before, so you can get vehicle tracking on here. You've got animal tracking as you did before, IAF. You've got loads of different options on there which will allow you to pretty much track anything that you really want. There's even got a train tracking option, which if you're a train spotter, absolutely great. from past experiences, trains don't move massively fast unless you're taking photos of a bullet train, so I've never really found that a problem. The only issue you will find, because of the cards that this camera uses, if you are shooting 40 frames a second, you are going to run that buffer out very quickly. So especially if you're shooting RAW, JPEG's not so much, but RAW you've probably got 2.5 seconds maximum of shooting with 40 frames a second on the cards that you can get currently. Hopefully in the future there will be some faster cards that come out which will allow us to shoot longer, but for now keep that in mind. If you are a wildlife photographer, you may want to step that shooting down to sort of 20 or 15 frames a second, and then you'll get more of a buffer and potentially won't miss that shot you'll be looking for. So this is the overview of the camera. Now we're going to look at some of the photos I've taken using it, and we'll go through the overview afterwards. Let's move on now. Okay, so this is the first image here. What we've done is these are all going to be blue tits. And the reason for that is they're a small bird, so hard to focus on. They're very, very fast, again hard to focus on. And they're shooting through foliage, so again another thing hard to focus on. So I really wanted to push the limits of the AF, because that's why everyone buys a mirrorless camera, for how good the AF system is. So as you can see here, this is hopping around. This is between shooting through 2 bushes here and 2 branches, and framing the birds really nicely though to shoot through there. And you see this really sharp image, frozen it, shooting 1/1000th of a second at 400mm on the 200-400 f4 for all these photos. And nice sharp image, really nice colours. It's almost looking at me going like, what are you doing? Less than 2 seconds after this photo was taken, it was gone. So managed to get the focus on, track the bird, and get this photo here, and it's a very, very nice usable photo. Next one here, again through the bushes, you can see that there is a twig right in front of the bird here. A bit more light on this photo, so it's made everything a little bit bright on the colours, but again really usable photo. Sharp bird, it's hopping through even thicker foliage and it's still managed to track the bird without a problem. So again, really good photo here. And last image here, what I've done is this is a incredibly heavy crop. So I've cropped this in super tight from the original image, just to show you even with 24 megapixels that you can get a nice sharp image still. And again, say through the foliage, nice separation because of the lens I'm using on here at f4, but this is massively cropped in. I've got to say I've probably cropped this in a good 150% from the original image, and it's really sharp still, really usable image, and I'm really happy with the quality of this and the colours still. And you've got all the details here on the feathers as well, which is really, really nice, and it just looks like a really, really nice autumny British bird photo. So as you can see from the images, the AF system itself that's built into the R6 Mark II is incredibly good. The reason why I wanted to take photos of those birds is because they are incredibly fast moving and they don't tend to sit in the same position all the time. They tend to be very much darting around to try and get away from predators and make sure they're not sitting in the same place too often so a predator knows where to go for it. So I thought it'd be a good example to use those animals because, as I say, you're testing the AF system to the fullest. How quickly does it pick up the animal, and then how well does it track the animal? Now, with picking up the animal, with so much foliage and everything around them, with the trees and the branches and everything like that, what I'm finding is you have to almost dumb the camera down into a DSLR mode, so the camera itself can see the camera through a spot focus, and then you push it onto animal tracking, which is what I find as well with my R3 I've got to my right here. You have to make sure the camera can see the animal, then picks up the tracking. It won't naturally see that it's an animal, even though it's very obvious something moving around like an animal would, because that's what they do. The cameras still aren't yet quite intelligent enough to go, right, cool, let's pick up that straight away, which is what you were kind of promised from mirrorless, which is why I still quite often use DSLR for stuff that I want to get a photo of. If I know I 100% need to get that photo, I'll go with DSLR, because I know whatever I'm pointing at, I'll get the photo. With mirrorless, there's a little bit of that extra step which can delay you getting that photo, and if it's a split-second moment, you can miss that picture. And talking to other photographers and other people who are actually a pro wildlife photographer who've gone back to a DSLR from mirrorless have said the same thing, that if you need to get a photo, they'll tend to take a DSLR out with them instead of the mirrorless camera, because whatever that little square is showing on a DSLR, you know that's going to be on focus. With a mirrorless, it's not quite that simple. That's the same with the R6 Mark II. It's the same with my R3. The focus system in this camera is just as good as my R3. There's no doubt about that. It is really, really quick. Once you've got that animal there, you're not losing it. The stickiness of the focus is absolutely incredible, which is the great thing about mirrorless. Once you've got that creature there and you want to track it, it's brilliant. So for things that are like maybe further away, like a bird in flight, potentially once you've got that focused on, you can then track it and you can frame the photo and make the photo look very nice, and maybe to be honest, a lot better than what you could make the photo look like with a DSLR, because you have that luxury of when you have that focus box put where it needs to be, you can then move the frame and it's still going to track that animal along, so you can make the photos way more artistic and look way neater and nicer with a mirrorless camera over DSLR, don't get me wrong. And say the focus system, once this picks up, it will track it through branches, it will track it any way you want it to. So the stickiness of that autofocus is absolutely incredible. And the fact you've also got your card slots in there are both the same card, so you're running the same speed if you're running redundant, unlike with the R3, unlike with my 1DX Mark II, where you've got a mixed match of cards where one card is always slower than the other card. So if you shoot redundant, you're always going to be shooting to the slowest card's speed. So sometimes that lets you down, because if you want to shoot the faster, you want that faster speed, so you end up not shooting redundant, so you have that bigger buffer, so you have that ability, especially when cameras are shooting at 30-40 frames a second now. So I'm really happy this camera has got that on there. Another massive plus, which was the main reason me getting rid of the R7 and selling it to my dad, was because you have a battery grip option on this camera, and you didn't on the R7. Obviously it's built into the R3, which is why I absolutely love that style of camera, but with this you have the battery grip that you can buy for it. It means it weighs the camera down a bit more. If you're using a longer lens, you get better balance with that bigger lens, especially with that older lenses, but you also get more battery life, you get that extra button and all the controls on the right hand side. And I have seen people complain that this battery grip is quite big if you have small hands. For me personally, I have quite big hands. Everything is where I'd expect it to be, so there's no problems there for me at all. I absolutely love the battery grip for where it is. I also love the fact that it's designed now like the batteries are on the ones, so they come out on the side. You've got your nice clip-in tray on there, you put it back in, you do it up, you get going. The EVF as well, absolutely incredible. Not quite as nice as the one in the R3, but that is a much more expensive camera. It's still a very usable, very nice, very well designed bit of equipment. The screen, another thing you miss from a DSLR is you have the great vari-angle touchscreen. I don't use it that often, but when I do need to use it and I want to use the screen to press for focus, absolutely incredible. Love having that on there. And just the overall design of this is one of the better designed bodies that I picked up. It's way nicer than the R7 to pick up and hold on to, even nicer than the R6 I had before. It just feels a little bit better made. The R6, the R7 feel like toys almost. They feel very light, which is what mirrorless was for ages. Like, it gets lighter and lighter, but sometimes you want that bit of weight behind it. You want that sort of almost mechanical feel in the hand, which is why I love using the 1D. So you have that heavy feel to them almost, really. They are a heavy camera, but you do sometimes like that feel to make sure you feel like you've got a camera that's going to last, is secure, is strong. So I love that about this. It is a really nice camera. If you are going to go mirrorless, You don't want to spend the world. You don't want to have to spend $4,500 on an R5 Mark II. You don't want to spend $6,000, $7,000 on a R3 R1. This is a very, very good camera, and there are some very good offers at the moment with the rumours of the Mark III coming out. So this is the time to buy one. It is a really nice camera. Even though it's only 24 megapixels, you still get a very nice, sharp, crisp image. As you've seen behind me, you can crop in and still maintain a lot of those details. Again, I've shown you that. So very, very nice camera. I'd highly recommend it if you want something that isn't as bulky as an R3. You want to go mirrorless. You want to have really nice sticky autofocus on there for animal photography. This is very much one to go for. Nice full frame sensor, and you're not going to be massively disappointed by having this camera. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, comment and like. We're getting nicely up on the tables of subscriptions, which is really good. The better the subscriptions, the more I can do on the channel, the more product I can get in to review. So let me know down below what you think of the R6 Mark II. Do you need any more advice? People have been asking me questions for advice in the comments. I don't mind answering those. If you have any questions, just pop them down there and I can give you some advice on what I would recommend for your specific inquiry. So catch you in the next one. See you again soon. Goodbye.